Good morning, Atlanta. I've always wanted to do that. Well, good morning to you all, wherever you may be listening. You are tuned into the Jumper Cable Records podcast, where together we discover new artists and learn from industry professionals. As you may have guessed it, we are sitting in Atlanta with folk rock trio Highbeams.
Hey.
Hi.
They have rocked stages all across the Southeast, opening up for acts that you may know, like Chase Bryant, Vertical Horizon, and Grammy Award-winning Brothers Osborne. So cool, so cool. Adam, Ian, Steven. Oh, that's perfect. You're all in a row there. Thank you all for being Thanks for being here with us today.
Thank you for having us.
Just hanging out. I typically start each episode by letting our listeners know how we've met our guests. But y'all, we are meeting for the first time. So this is especially exciting. We greatly appreciate you just deciding that we were okay to meet.
We're very exclusive and touchy about that. So this was a special opportunity.
Long vetting process involved. Mm-hmm. So.
You never know what's going to...
And thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you. You never know with us too, right?
Yeah. Well, I am the one who's kind of slid into their DMs, honestly. So I just appreciate you being like, yeah, all right, we'll do that. But that just makes it all the more exciting to get to know you all. Before we get started, though, could you all introduce yourselves? Let us know which band member is speaking, what you play, and your go-to gas station food on tour.
Okay, should I go first because I'm closest?
Yes.
My name's Adam. I'm in this band, Highbeams, and I play the guitar, but sometimes I switch with Steven, who plays the bass most of the time, and we all sing, so I sing as well. And my gas station food would be, I'm trying to quit, but maybe energy drinks, which isn't a food.
But that's
the thing that
you
I would
can treat it like a food for sure.
Yeah, that's my. But this year I'm trying to not have as many energy drinks.
How's it going?
So Reese's, I've had two.
It's January 14th. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Well, it was a soft New Year's resolution. It was I will have less.
Well, my name's Ian. I'm Adam's brother. I play the cajon in Highbeams, and I play the piano on our recordings, but never live because I get the benefit of as many takes as I want. And I sing backup, and I never play guitar or bass. And the gas station food, I suppose it's some kind of nuts, like peanuts or something. Yeah. And coffee.
You trying to have fewer peanuts this year as well?
No, as much as possible.
Okay.
Are you, I have to stop. Are you like a trail mix guy too, or is that a no?
I love mixed nuts. However,
Okay.
I always bring them on the road, and they always make me cough.
Oh,
and so,
shoot.
especially during like the pandemic, I'd be like, that was my little pre-show food, and then I'd be coughing, and everybody'd be like, oh, yeah. But as far as the M&Ms in it, nah.
Okay, good to know.
I'm Steven. I play bass usually, but it's the exact same setup as Adam. We switch every once in a while, sing, and gas station food is tough. I'm one of those greasy roller guys.
Yeah.
You know how you're like, I don't know how long that's been there. I'm like, I hope it's been there for a while.
Just long enough.
It's a fun game of gas station roulette. Yeah.
We also we're the kind of people that just bring food in a cooler on tour as well.
Yeah.
You know, you just sit in. We find ourselves mostly outside of gas stations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just
Trying to find one that has a microwave.
Right. Yeah. And if we're lucky, a picnic table. Sometimes that's pretty great.
Ooh, very practical. I like these answers. So as I was saying a minute ago, I did come across your Instagram. Initially, I fell in love with your music, and I have not looked back since. We know our listeners will feel the same way too. Mind if we kick off the episode, get everything into gear with some rapid fire questions?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Doesn't need to be the perfect answer. You ready?
Yes.
All right. Pancakes or waffles? I guess we'll go in order.
Pancakes.
Waffles.
Pancakes.
Ooh. Would you rather walk around with a tiny pebble in your shoe or with wet socks for 24 hours?
Tiny pebble.
Oh my God.
Rapid fire.
Wet socks.
Pebble.
Wet socks.
Terrible.
I hate pebbles.
I guess you don't really
But you
stand
could
on
kinda
stage.
like-
I mean, I hate
You could
pebbles in
hold your
general,
foot
but
in a
what in my
certain way.
shoe?
Yeah.
But with the
Imagine
Wet
playing
Sox.
a show with that situation, and either of those. Like we're standing with a pebble.
But we've
in our
done
shoe.
that, man.
That's true.
Yeah.
The Wet Sox.
Yes,
tour.
I don't know.
Kind of kick the pebble around in your shoe.
Find a little spot where
You
it's
get
under
used
the
to-
arch.
You get used to walking weird, but with wet socks, it's just everywhere.
And it just
terrible.
gets worse in the rock. Yeah.
I feel like it makes you cold too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't mean to gang up on you, Ian. I just
Feel
wanted
free.
to discuss
Yeah,
it.
you're
No,
just-
I'm
You'll
not
never
like-
change my
I'm
mind.
not judging you for picking that.
Ever.
I feel
This
like
is wrong.
empathetic because now in my mind you have wet socks. like I'm like we gotta
Right.
fix this.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
I don't.
You
I don't
need to
know.
change
I
your
think
answer.
in all the ways you're talking about the wet socks, I feel the same about the pebble. So
my
it's just
God,
kind of the pebble
All
is
right.
is. I had one in my slipper this morning, and I was like, what?
And you were like, I love this.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, no, it was. Which
get
one
my
did I
wet-
dislike?
I gotta
Yeah,
get
no,
this
the pebble
out
was
of my
bad.
shoe, and I gotta get my wet socks on. Yeah. So rapid fire.
Oh yeah,
Rapid. Really fast.
No, it's fair. It's good. Okay, if you could collaborate with one of these Jacks, who would you choose? Jack White, Jack Black, or Jack Johnson?
Jack Black.
Johnson.
Jack Black. Absolutely.
I shook his hand once. He was nice.
Did
I
you?
forgot about that.
Where?
Sorry, this isn't rapid. Like 6 years ago, was an extra on the first Jumanji, and he just randomly started talking to me, and I didn't say anything because I was scared. But he was really nice. So I just want to say, hey, I talk, Jack Black.
Heck yeah. That's awesome.
He was the John Lennon character, right, or something like that.
I was way in the background.
Wait.
He was odd blur number 7.
That was a blur,
Yeah.
but a blur you could kind of. Anyway, yes. Jack
Look
Black.
for him, though. Look for him.
Yes.
Adam, we were watching this movie earlier this morning with our children, so the odds are impeccable.
Wow.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. Favorite song to cover?
Oh, that we cover, I assume.
Yeah, well,
I guess.
any song that you love to cover.
We've played Ring of Fire by Johnny Cash for like 10 years, and I still love it. I love it more than I did at the beginning. And
Ooh,
I don't
that's
think I
good.
ever want to stop playing that one. And it's just so easy. I think we start a lot of our bar sets with it,
Yeah.
and it just gets us comfortable and in the zone and makes sure the sound is good. So, yeah.
Agreed. Yes, I like it.
I like that.
We play a Dawes song called If I Wanted Someone, and that I think is my favorite. But yeah, the Ring of Fire thing, we hadn't played a show together in a little while. And last night we were like, what do we open with? And it's just like Ring of Fire. Got to get back into it. Like it's just this like, it's been the first song in probably, I don't know,
Most
70% of our sets we've ever played.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got to.
That's so good. It's like a soul song, your comfort song.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Very good. All right. What's a Spotify playlist or like a category or a mood that you would file Highbeams under? This is the last rapid fire.
Feel good folk
Yes.
That.
or feel good folk rock, I guess. We're not like folk, like, how did I?
Also, yes.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I agree with that.
Or not, or
Not like
you know,
I did I.
not traditional.
There's no Bob
Hi-de-hi-de.
Dylan lilts to
Yeah.
our voice. So. Yeah.
I would say folk though.
Okay, cool.
Definitely.
Sometimes people come up and they're like, I don't usually like country, but you're all pretty good.
We're like, huh, we're
And we're like, I didn't know that, but
That is news to me.
Right.
Well, excellent. You guys did a great job on the rapid fires.
Thank you.
Very
Applause. I want to get into the meat of the interview. You guys have an incredible discography. 4 albums, catchy singles. You have what I would describe as like a cool, folky, lighthearted sound. Hopefully that's okay. I'm not,
Yeah,
I'm
so
not
perfect.
offending anybody.
Oh, that's great.
Lighthearted
You
is
have lighthearted,
fantastic.
but you have thinky tunes as well. So you have everything in between. They're all bangers, honestly. How did you all get started? How did Highbeams form, and what inspired your band name?
Yeah.
Oh, Adam came up with the name, but I suppose we started through Adam and I playing in bands in high school and being kicked out over time. We were in metal bands and stuff. And yeah, I think we missed a practice once. And our band leader,
We were grounded, I believe. I
we
think.
were grounded. We might have been grounded. Yeah, it was a little while back. But we were told that we were done. And it was like, yeah. Anyway,
Ouch.
then we had other bands where, like, it always wound up with just Adam and I left, and we're like, okay, one of us has to start singing, I guess, if we're gonna like play music, and slowly gravitating towards music that had real vocals and not screaming. And and then we met Steven. Him and I worked at Wendy's, and we went to high school together, but we didn't really talk until working together and bonded through the fires of
the grease fires.
The grease fires of Wendy's. And we talked about Mumford & Sons,
Yes,
which was every folk rock band in that time's biggest inspiration.
We were like, we got to start a band and we got to start wearing suspenders.
We have to be them.
ASAP.
Anybody have one of those little vests? Which I have now. And I realized we looked like more like a chauffeur than a Mumford & Sons.
I'm sad you guys aren't in the garb right now, honestly.
Yeah. Well,
we gave up on that.
we played far too many shows dressed up like cabbies to like 4 people. And we were like, this feels silly at a point.
No, there's something to that. If it doesn't feel like you, that the audience is definitely going to feel that. So that's a good note.
Oh yeah, I guess as far as the band name, Adam thought of it, and we didn't have much of a meaning for it, but it was. I like to think, whenever you need a little more light, and so you saying like lighthearted, it kind of works, like a little more Highbeams.
That is so cool. All right. Well, now we have a lot of independent musician listeners. You've released this large body of work that you've all created under your own record label called Blanket Fort.
Yes.
Are there any particular experiences that you guys have had that guided you to ultimately deciding, we'll just do all of this ourselves?
I think every experience has led us to that conclusion.
Yeah, so many. What was it?
I know recording, we would spend a ton of money recording with other people, and I think maybe money was a big part of it. Support from our parents. Our dad bought my first cajon for me and helped us like play in other smaller places and more often. He bought us our first little Mac Mini to record on, and we use Logic like you guys do.
Yep.
And so kind of just to he kind of just put little sprouts of inspiration, because he was in a band when he was our age, and and I think he just, there was little things. He was never like, you have to do this, but he's like, here, try this out. And I think between that and not being able to afford people that were professionals at stuff, it kind of forced us into it. What do you think?
For sure. I mean, we also worked with a couple of different campaigns here and there when we were a lot younger. And I don't know, we put a lot of money behind like a national radio campaign, and nothing really showed. We didn't really have much to show for it at the end of it. And we were just like, oh, hey, this isn't a super lucrative business, right? Mm-hmm. So like, if we're going to do it and we want to do this full time, we've got to make like really economical choices. So the best way, I mean, you learn to do stuff on your own. You don't have to pay somebody to learn to do that on their own, right? So
exactly.
Like you mentioned the Mac Mini, that started like, we used that for 8 years or something like that. And eventually it just started like crashing.
It took about an hour and a half to turn on.
So we looked up like how much for a new Mac, and it's like, it's super expensive.
Yeah. So Steven built a computer.
I built a Hackintosh. So we just have we have. I
That
didn't
is
build.
so
wait, hold
cool.
on. I didn't build a Hackintosh because that is somehow it's illegal, and I definitely.
He did not
that's news
do
to me.
that.
Yeah,
no, it's
we,
a joke.
We still use a Mac Mini. It's pretty great.
What a great investment, that
Whoa.
Mac Mini.
Yes.
That is so cool. Still running all these years.
Thanks, Andrew Pendleton. Appreciate it.
I do want to get candid for a moment. Y'all are obviously close. You are family and are like family. What would you say has been the hardest part about making music and touring together in this dynamic?
I don't really know if I have an answer for that. Like, I wouldn't want to do it with anybody else, honestly. So, like, the hardest part, it's difficult. Obviously, like, there's a lot of sacrifice. But I think that we all, we're all there for each other at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And anything that comes up in life, we're willing to work with. Like, there's not a whole lot of, you need time off. Okay, we'll figure it out. Like, there's life happening around all this, and I think the reason that we're all still together is because we're flexible.
Yeah.
And it's not hard to be flexible for people you really care about. So
Yeah, and we don't really fight. I mean, we've had things where we argue, but I can remember like maybe one time where Adam and I argued, or like, but like, yeah, generally where we get along. I think the hard part might be like just growing more roots at home that make it, spending longer times away from home get harder. But that's it, pretty much it.
I like you guys. It's hard to deal with you.
Oh, is that? Yeah.
But that's
are you saying
what you got to do.
you saying
Yeah.
Ian and I
Someone's
are done?
gotta do it.
You guys are done. Thank you. Yes, that's what I should have said.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
And then what would I do? Yeah. It would be impossible without you guys. So that was a joke. But
yeah.
it was a tough question to answer because, of course, there were hard things. But before this particular combination of people, that's what was really hard. It was like, man, I love making music, but just what do you do? Like, there just doesn't.
What?
I mean, yeah. So
Yeah.
We love doing hard things together. That's kind of the thing.
Yeah.
So
There you go.
we tour as much as we could.
Yeah.
And like when we were a lot younger, this is more of the DIY stuff, but like we just like you develop some really unique skills. Like I'm really good at finding churches on Google Maps that you could sleep at without being detected. Or finding a place
Allegedly.
that
I love it.
seems like if you are detected, they'll be like, do you want some coffee? Instead of like, do you want us to call the cops?
Yeah.
Which has happened multiple times, but
Yeah. We get a lot of, are you guys okay?
yeah.
That we
That's
haven't
good.
done that in years. But
Yeah. We were
that
a lot
was-
younger, and it's a lot less creepy for people who are not 30 years old to be sleeping in a tent in a church parking lot. You sit up, you're like 18, they're like, this is fine. But you sit up, you're 30, and they're like, oh.
Like, oh, you guys are just
Darn
dumb.
it. Darn it. Well, I do want to say my heart's in a puddle because that was a beautiful answer. I loved this kind of stunned silence because you guys didn't have an answer for that. On the flip side, you did say things that you do love about it. Life is hard. Life is happening around you, Stephen said. That is wonderful because it's true, and that you like to face those challenges together. They're not necessarily born of being a band. But I do want to know, what is your favorite part? It could be the same answer as what you...
I like looking ahead and seeing like just kind of what our week looks like or what our month looks like. It motivates my whole life when we have a busy musical week coming up. I just suddenly it puts a pep in my step, and I really like that. It makes everything kind of feel like it's feeding into everything else. Being at music makes me feel more like energized at home, and then being at home helps me want to be better with music. I like that a lot. Yeah.
It's a great balance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like, I don't know, as a unit, being in situations that are kind of outside of the norm for society. Like, I like the feeling of being on tour and like stopping at a rest stop and breaking out like a stove and cooking food for the three of us and then like packing it all back up. It's just not the standard way to do things, but no one said you can't, and I like just doing that.
Yeah.
Very I don't know, unseeming positions. Like we'd run an extension cord from a rest stop to a picnic table to make an instant pot work and make a curry. It's just like, all right, we're done here.
Yeah.
It just feels so cool to me.
That is cool.
It
No
is
one
fun.
said you can't. That's
Yeah.
the whole
Yeah.
thing.
Cool.
Yeah, it's very freeing. It feels very. I'm probably similar to how you feel with this, like the way you were talking before we started recording. I think, but just it's you're choosing to do it and you're excited to do it and it's drawing you forward. So, it's just you're like, wow, I'm doing this thing and that I like doing. That's nice, Mm-hmm. And your guys' answers were pretty good.
Yeah, I like what you said about choice too. Like you
Yes.
absolutely decide that you're going to do it. So
Yeah, all of your time is fulfilling. There's not like, can't wait to be done with whatever I'm doing right now. It's like, I like being at home, and then I like working. And that's pretty much what all of life is.
Exactly.
So it's just kind of getting to enjoy every part of your life is cool.
That's how it should be, is
Yeah.
just being able to stop and recognize. You guys have given yourselves space and each other space to recognize what life is about, and then you just kind of celebrate it through your music. It's so cool. So a bit ago, we talked about you operating under the label Blanket Fort. You've been creating and releasing music in a lot of different climates of the music industry because you guys have been together for so long. Can you tell our listeners when you guys started, when you formed?
Our first show was New Year's Eve, I think, going into 2012. So that's our at least our mental anniversary. We're not really sure, but so this last one was 11 years, and we've been full time for 8 of those now.
So you have been operating, you've been creating and releasing this music under different climates of the music industry, and because we have so many musician listeners, could you share with our listeners who may be navigating the waters of what the industry looks like today, and they're trying to decide whether to spend their time, their energy to get signed or just to go full send as an independent artist? Are there any words of encouragement or advice that you can leave with them today?
I have something really quick, and you guys probably have something better, other musicians that we respect a lot will sometimes message our page and ask us advice, even though we are like, they're so great. So I don't have specific advice, but just that if you're wondering how other people, like, you're not the only person who's like, how do you do this? Because even people we look up to and that are just great and that we love watching them perform, they're like, so what's your guys like plan? Like, and we're like, you guys don't know either?
Right.
Yeah. But
So not so much advice, but just you're not wrong for being like, I don't really know what to do.
yeah, I think to tell exactly what we did, I mean, I'd love to because I loved it, but
11 years?
yeah, we would look up, a band's Wikipedia, and they always skip that part in the middle where they struggle, and it was like, and then someone found them and they became famous, and every single one was slightly different. And I think the one thing that we remind ourselves a lot is that everybody had like a different journey, and like carving out your own little version that works for you is very important, because we've like opened for bands where I asked them what they did, and some of them like swear against going full time with music. They're like, you got to have another job, otherwise you get burnt out. And in my head, even though I looked up to them, I was like, no, because I was like, I don't want to do that. Like, I like, I want to only do this. That was always our goal. So, we played open mic nights just every single night that we could, even if it was like ridiculously far away, to try to get a gig at whatever place. And then that slowly evolved into not doing those and playing like the bar shows and connecting one thing to another, and letting, the more you play, the more you get to play, it seems. But yeah, I think to carve it out for yourself, as vague as that is very much what you got to do. Because I don't know if open mics are still a huge thing. I don't know. We used to be able to do it like every night of the week.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think there's a ton of different versions of what a full-time musician can look like. And a lot of people like to think that it's, playing for sold-out audiences on a nationwide tour as many nights a week as possible. And that, I'm not going to lie, sounds amazing, right? Like, that's the dream. But if that's what you're waiting for this to have been worth it, then you're not going to even get there. So the whole thing is like, we play a bunch of bar gigs, and it's not because we have to. Like, we like playing music to people. Like, we want to be at the places that we go to, and that's kind of the beauty. It's like we're able to be selective because we spent so long finding the gigs that we want to play by playing the gigs that we don't want to play.
Yeah.
Because
then we also play like the festivals and like the theaters.
Right. And
we do those as well. And
to remain full time, we do these gigs that we still want to play, and then we have these things that through a lot of hard work on Ian's end materialize seemingly overnight, where it's really just like 16 follow-up emails to be like, hey, we still exist, can we please play this event? And people eventually are like, oh, I overlooked you for 4 years and I finally listened and I really want you guys out here. And then we'll go play that, and we'll buzz on that for 3 months until the next really cool opportunity comes up. But in the meantime, we're still choosing, like Adam said, we're choosing the work that we're doing, and it's because we actually want to be there. So
excellent. Timing
Many
is everything.
versions.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you guys might not feel like it, but you have a very deep knowledge, at least a deep wisdom of the music industry. So thank you so much for sharing your insights and your expertise with us today. Can you let our listeners know where to follow you guys for updates, where we can see you live, anything that we can expect this 2023 year?
Yes. Our website is highbeamsmusic.com. We have our shows, we have music on there, links to all social media and stuff. But of course, we'd love for you to hear us on Spotify. All our music's on there and Apple Music. Everything, really. I think you could even put it on TikTok videos. I'm not sure why, but we allowed that to happen.
Excellent. So go follow them on there. This morning has been awesome. Thank you guys again so much for hanging out with us.
Thank you.
You've all just discovered folk Atlanta-based rock band Highbeams with us on the Jump for Cable Records podcast. That's a mouthful, I've got to say. But
Lots
thank
of
you.
modifiers there.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, you guys. If you like what you hear, please be sure to rate and review so we can continue to discover artists together. And you know what to do. Stay dialed in for an acoustic exclusive with Highbeams.
Fret too much as I've been known to do. Remembering when you let me in, told me everything about you, risk it all, in spite of the inevitable fall down, 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 down. Are you gonna keep me around? 'Cause you feel like being home, you feel like being still. You love like being lost and found, and if you want, I will take all my broken pieces. If it's alright with yours, I don't need it to be easy. Don't need it to be easy.